at your church. This is awesome, you guys. From the time that we've gotten here, and the whole time we've just felt welcome, and that's what church is about. So, wow, what a wonderful church you guys have. This is awesome. So my message is simple. It's super, super simple, but as someone that was actually raised in the church, I had two parents that introduced me to God. I just have to share with you that until I chose to get it, until my relationship with Him was mine, and I'll be 40 years old this year, you guys. It was just 2 years ago that I actually got this. So I'm hoping that my testimony, what I'm saying, if it just helps one person here, then you guys, He used me for His glory today, and it gets me a little emotional to think that. So let's start. Let's start talking about Christians. You know, we have a lot of things in common. There's some differences in theology across the denominations, but I think speaking about a few specific topics, two in particular, is that we were created in His image. We were created in His image. He made me. He made you. The second thing is followers. God gave us a commandment, you guys. When we chose to follow Him, He gave us a commandment, and that was to love others. Period. The end of story. The third thing's not spiritual. It's just a simple fact, and that's there's 24 hours in a day. And if what I really want to do by the end of this message is kind of tie those three things together. And man, if we can leave here and just show the love even more than we did when we walked in, it's just going to be a good thing. All right, so let's start. Let's start with that we were created in God's image. As Christians, we believe that. He created me. He created each of you. He created us. This is probably a great time to remind ourselves that God is sovereign and He is perfect and He does not make mistakes. And if you can add those two truths together, that He created us and He doesn't make mistakes, none of us are mistakes. I'm not a mistake. None of you are mistakes. It's just the truth. It's just the truth. But why do we feel like that sometimes? Why do we feel like we're mistakes sometimes? Why do we feel like we're not enough sometimes? Why do we feel like we can't measure up sometimes? And I'll tell you, it's because I think we complicate it. Our human nature, our sinful nature, tends to complicate it. We're busy looking to our left and our right and looking at other creations, and we get it confused. We should be thanking Him for creating us, thanking Him for our skill set and our own personality, and asking Him, how can you use me for your glory? And this is where my testimony comes in a little bit. You know, I got caught up. I'm not sure it was a conscious thing at one point in my life, but I was busy, or I was certainly aware of my surroundings, and I forgot to ask myself and ask Him, you know, God, you created me. Remind me, God, what do you want to do with me? But I wasn't there. I was too busy looking to my left and my right. And this is where it ended. This is where I landed, down a dead road of anxiety. The anxiety turned into panic. Panic turned into panic attacks, and panic attacks into me in the hospital. That whole cycle gave me the really great diagnosis of like anxiety and panic disorder. And I can tell you that I am a firm believer in modern day medicine. If anybody knows me, they know that's what I do for a living. I'm a pharmaceutical representative. I believe the power of modern day medicine. But if I would have just left alone the medication that I had to take to help relieve my anxiety and help relieve the panic, I still knew something else was missing, and I wasn't filling myself with Him. So I got up every morning, you guys. I was reading the Bible. I plugged myself into a great group of girls who love Jesus and who studied the Bible. And I'm here to tell you, there is an indescribable peace that comes from Him versus the modern day medicine that was helping me with my anxiety. And if I could just share that, and if I could just let anybody know that filling yourself with Him versus any sort of modern day medicine, I mean, again, it's just an indescribable peace. So I guess that's my message. You were created in His image. You were created in His image for a reason. Look to Him. Ask Him, what do you want to do with me, God? What do you want to do in my glory? Stop looking to your left and right, because it'll confuse you like it confused me. All right, so once we can all agree we were created in His image, there's a reason that He put us here on this earth. The second thing is that once we decided to follow Jesus, he gave us a commandment. I like to call it a community-enhancing commandment. And if you look in the book of John, chapter 13, verses 13 through 34, Jesus gave us a commandment, and it says this: I give you a new commandment, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you should also love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciple, if you have love for one another. All right. Love one another. That sounds simple, right? It sounds simple. Just like we should be okay with the person that he created us to be, but guess what? We complicate that too, don't we? It's so easy to love people that are like us, but it's hard to love people that are hard. And again, while I'm confessing, I will admit, sometimes it's hard for me to love the people that are hard. But I keep going back to Scripture. It says, Jesus says, just as I have loved you, you should also love one another. It does not say you should also love one another except for fill in the blank. It does not say you should also love one another except for fill in the blank. It says we should love one another. So whenever you get to the point where you're trying to love someone with what he gave you, and you just sometimes feel like you can't, find yourself going to prayer, guys, and talking to him. And I promise you, I've been there. It is hard to love some hard people, but I promise you, if you ask him for prayer, he will show you and he'll guide you. All right, so the third thing, simple, it's not spiritual at all. It's just a simple fact, is that there's 24 hours in a day. And this for me is